And you said you were still in New England. You said, Jay, I've seen every coverage. You can beat me, but you're not going to fool me. I've seen every one. And you've been very vocal about the pre-snap operational side has deteriorated.
Yeah. But you're right. There's just not a lot. There's a lot more, I would say, physical development happening at a younger age, but less, I would say, mental, emotional development from quarterbacks. And, I had a chance to talk to Andy Reid about that, had a chance to talk to Patrick Mahomes about that this week. Patrick flat out said, I can't thank Alex Smith enough for everything that he did for me. All I did was ask him questions in the meeting room my first year. And I look at my first year, that's all I did with Drew Bledsoe. Aaron Rodgers had 3 years to sit behind Brett Favre. Eli Manning sat behind Kurt Warner. There's a lot of guys, and I would say a lot of successful players that weren't kind of thrown into the fire, because what happens is you can lose your confidence so fast, because when the real games are happening, the blitzes are coming, and you don't understand protection and you don't understand coverage, and you start taking hits and you start throwing interceptions, you begin to lose confidence that, hey, I don't even know how to play football. I don't know how to go down and lead our team to score points. I can't even make and complete a pass. So if you're sitting in the meeting room and learning, I actually think that's the best way to learn, because you can understand it on the board. You can understand it on the video screen. You can go out to a walkthrough, and then you can learn and practice by making a lot of, good decisions, bad decisions, without necessarily being critiqued from the outside world and losing. Look, you got PFF grading you every week, like you were just referencing there before I came on. They're grading you. And now you go as a first-year quarterback, you barely know shit, and now everyone's telling you suck, and it takes a while to regain your confidence. You lose your whole fan base, and it's really unfortunate. But that's very much the state of the league. And I think we've dumbed down the game in so many ways to allow for a lesser caliber developed player to get in there and lead an organization.
So, I always had this theory that quarterbacking should be easier now. You have personal coaching, 7-on-7 camps. Guys like you and Drew Bledsoe and Troy Aikman have told me, I literally had 8 high school games a year. You're like, I had 40 starts, including high school. Well, guys now have 10,000 snaps by the time they're 14 years old. So I've always said, as a sports commentator, I used to give guys 3 years. My argument now is Thanksgiving year 2, the GM, the coach, the coordinator need to go upstairs in a room privately, raise their hands, yes or no. And I don't care where you drafted him. Is that fair? I know it sounds kind of harsh.
Yeah, but I would argue this. You're assuming that everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So are you saying, just like we rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you have the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind, or the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting? When I got to the Patriots, I sat behind Drew, who was a franchise quarterback, right? In my second year, it's training camp, and we had a very good quarterback coach named Dick Rabine, and God rest his soul. Unfortunately, he passed away in training camp and of a heart attack. And it was a very difficult loss for our team. And the way that we found a way to continue on that season is Bill Belichick became more of a quarterback coach than we ever imagined him being a quarterback coach. He was obviously a head coach, very involved in defensive game planning, but he decided to come in every week and talk to the quarterbacks about coverage. All right, guys. And he would do these big write-ups, and I still have them all because I kept everything. Tom, this is cover one. This is how they play it. This is who's responsible for who. Okay, if we line up in a bunch formation, this is how they're going to handle the bunch formation. This is why they do that. This is the weakness of that, why they do that. You shouldn't do this if this is how they cover this. Okay, this is cover two. This is how they cover. They play two variations of cover two. When they're in this variation, this is what they're trying to stop. When they're in this variation, this is what they're trying to stop. Okay, this is cover four. This is how this team uniquely plays cover four. We shouldn't line up in this formation to try to run this concept. For 1 year, for actually more years beyond that, that's how I developed and learned, oh shit, defense calls a certain play. This is how we can put them in this formation and they can back the coverage off and I'll have a short throw underneath. Oh, great. I love that. Let's do that. Nobody's getting that type of development. So I learned from an offensive standpoint watching Drew and having very good offensive coaches. Then I had a defensive coach, the best one of all time, teach me how to read defenses. Then I would go out and meet with player personnel people, who are very talented. Okay, we'd go through the entire defensive lineup. Okay, these are all the things that this defense does. This is what this player does well. This player does well. This player does well. That's development. You're giving people knowledge and information that you could take to the field so that you could play with confidence and anticipation, and that would free you up to play a very aggressive style of football. So I'm saying, what if you're a quarterback and you go to a system and they don't teach you coverage? They don't teach you cover one. They don't teach you cover two. They don't teach you cover four. They don't have personnel meetings. They give you an offensive game plan and they go, all right, bud, here you go. Figure it out. And after Thanksgiving of your second year, they're going, man, this guy just can't play anymore. He stinks. He can't read cover. It's like, dude, what did you teach him anything? Did you groom him? Did you spend time after practice? Did you work on the physical parts of his game? Did you work on his throwing mechanics? Did you work on his drops? Did you work on the mental parts of the game? Did you understand how to help him study film better? So all these aspects, physical part about football, the physical part is one aspect. I was 199th pick in the draft because so many people were focused on a physical skill. Tom Brady, too weak, couldn't stand in the pocket. If he gets hit, he's going to go down. Lacks a really strong arm. That was kind of bullshit. But what I really understood, the mental, emotional part, I could bring a consistent, competitive, winning attitude to the game every day, or to practice and the games every single week. Mentally, I could absorb information. You could give me, just like Belichick did, pages of notes, and I could process those things and then take them to the field and play with the anticipation. So what I lacked for maybe in a bit of physical development, I far exceeded a lot of other people in mental, emotional development. And that's a hard thing to evaluate. But I'd also say there's not many people who even know what to do. It's not like they're CEOs of businesses. A lot of times they're football coaches, with all due respect. They're not running large corporations.
Right.
As Bill Parcells said, they're PE coaches a lot of times that get elevated to, coaching positions.